We are live, Brad. First of all, Brad,
Oh,
welcome back.
oh, thanks, man.
Welcome back to the States. Welcome back to the show. I got to be honest, I did a lot of talking this week, so I'm really excited for your
That
15-minute
last
monologue. Yeah, I'm really excited for your 15-minute monologue, and I'm gonna shut up now and let you have the floor.
What 15-minute monologue? You didn't tell me about this. What the hell? You just put me on the spot, put me on blast.
No. I'm
But
just
I guess
kidding.
I mean, yeah, I just came from the gym and I was listening to the last week's podcast, obviously kind of procrastinating it, listening to it 6 days later. Don't hate me. But some takeaways, were I think you mentioned that Sig would call Mendoza the most talented quarterback he's worked with, which I don't know if he would do that. He might be the most talented quarterback he's worked with, but I mean, the guy recruited Russell Wilson and Philip Rivers to NC State. That's why he got the Bama recruiting coordinator job when Nick Saban started building his staff over there at Bama. So I don't know if he would say that, but it could be true when it's all said and done.
I'm just saying, like, you start so I was when we were having the conversation before the show started, I held my tongue a little bit because my question to you is going to be, you're calling him Andrew Luck.
I
Phil
am.
Rivers,
I am.
Andrew
So
Luck.
in the reverse, like I really can't complain about that. I just don't think Signetti would say that. I might say that. Master of the eye test. Ich kann sprechen Deutsch. But yeah, it could be true at the end when it's all said and done. D-line production coming back, just like big holes to fill. CJ West just being the other NFL guy, NFL draft pick that we have to replace. That's gonna, regardless of how talented the team is, replacing NFL talent is easier said than done. I like what they did. Hosea Wheeler, you mentioned. We're expecting Mikhail Kamara comes back, who you'd argue he's better in terms of impact wise than CJ West. So having him returns huge. And then expecting, those two transfers, Wyatt and who was it? That's bad. I should know this. Wyatt
Stephen
and Daly. Yes. Those two will have huge impacts and big roles on the team. And then obviously we're expecting big jumps from Landino and Ndukwe. And if all those things happen, obviously I'm gonna throw in Tyreek Tucker, who I think's absolute playmaker at the nose. It takes a village, but I think we can get it done. And then obviously and then another takeaway with the O-line, I think we were super lucky to have, I think we talked about before the pod, we were just super lucky to have Tyler Stevens just around last year because really we were, after the Kidwell injury, we had six playable linemen last year. That's just, that was the reality of the situation. So when Drew Evans went down, it was Stevens, and then we really didn't have anyone back there. We were just praying that they could all stay healthy throughout the rest of the year, and they did. Thank God. And yeah, I think having 8 deep this year, we talk about, Benson, Zen Mikowski, bringing in Pat Coogan, Drew Evans and Bray Lynch are back. Carter Smith's back, Carter Smith might be the most underrated O-lineman in the conference. He might be the best tackle in the Big Ten going into this year. And then having those guys, and then guys that we've talked about, Ajani and Austin Leibfried, who are now redshirt freshmen that are now going to be in the fold in terms of being playable now. I think we're in a really good spot in the trenches. I think that, and obviously we talk about, competing. How do we get to the levels of Penn State and Notre Dame and Ohio State, and how do we get there, and Oregon, and how do we get there? And obviously, I think a lot of, casuals would say, you need skill guys, 5-star skill guys. Obviously, that's going to be a differentiator, but in terms of getting to that level, it all comes down to the trenches. And what we've done there is really impressive. And obviously, if you listen to this pod, we have skill on the outside for days. Our DB room is probably our pod's favorite room on the team. Not that we pick favorites, but we love the DB room top to bottom. And obviously, we bring back our top 2 receivers from last year and bring in Robin Hemby, who was the best player on Maryland last year. So in terms of just how roster construction, I mean, we're just in a great spot. And that was my, it's almost like you were doubling down on everything we've said so far in this offseason. Like you said,
that's exactly what I was doing. It's hard to have a conversation with yourself. You look at
you did good though.
No, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. But no, I actually haven't answered your question because you're talking about the trenches. You're talking about potentially skill guys. Like, how do you get over the edge? Well, you do exactly what this Indiana University is doing, and you bring back the Bison.
Oh, there we go. I think it could still be a uniform reveal, though.
I got to be honest. So if you've been living under a rock or haven't been on Twitter or haven't got the chance to go check out the 2 promo videos that Indiana has released through the university's account, not just the athletics accounts. The 2 videos basically are teaser trailers for what is going to be the reveal of the Bison mascot. Why do I feel so confident saying it's a bison other than the fact that every single person on Twitter watching the video is saying that? The first thing you see in the first promo video flash is December 16th, 2024. There was a Twitter user named Evan Roberts that pointed out that date specifically was the date of a IU student government vote to bring back the Bison mascot. So it starts with that date. You then have goes into the first of what could be 2 Oscar-worthy performances from Senior Associate Athletics Director Jeremy Gray, who plays Ray, the yard hand in the first clip, and he plays Dr. Yeagley Montgomery McCracken, zoologist, in clip 2. But just 2 really well done promos, and the first promo ends with Ray opening the box, and out of the box reaches what to me looked like a hand, and I made this comment on Twitter and got quote tweeted by Mr. Gray himself. But if you actually go back and look at what reaches out of the crate at the end of that first promo video, you can kind of see the hair and the hoof on the back part of the finger.
Oh,
so
it's fuzzy. I thought it was like
yeah,
just like quick glance, like why I said maybe it's a uniform job is I thought it was a football glove. I thought we were going blackouts. I thought we were going here's what I picture. I pictured black helmets, maybe with a throwback logo, maybe script Indiana on it in red. Black unis, black pants.
I
have
pretty
hopes
sure we
and
had
dreams,
these.
and I think my bias got in the way of realizing what was actually happening, which is
it's funny.
We're gonna have a Bison mascot, and that's gonna be awesome because Purdue has the worst mascot in Power 5. So if we just do anything in that regard, we've already outdone them. So I'm glad that we're doing it.
Well, I was gonna say the first thing I saw was your quote tweet of the video, and so my framing of what that was going to be was this is a uniform reveal. So when I saw the hand, I thought this was like an interesting way to release the new Fear of Gods, because the Fear of God uniforms got like mysteriously canceled in the middle of the season last year. There was kind of no explanation for that, and then I saw your thing being like uniform reveal. But then you take a step back. Obviously, you see the second video. The second video is. There is some bovine material potentially near Dunn Meadow. And we have the zoologist, Dr. Yeagley Montgomery McCracken, Sid Parrish, a huge star of the second video. And yeah, it's just it's really exciting. They're almost like parodies. It feels like SNL in a way, where it's like these are the types of like things you want your school to do, just like interact with the fan base, bring on something entertaining and fun that people could latch onto. That's going to you're going to be able to sell merch off of this. You're going to be able to inspire people. You're going to be able to have a student mascot. Like, it's just, I'm a huge believer in vibes. I'm a huge believer in, trying to do anything you can to inspire the fan base, inspire people. And like, obviously you can see the reaction that the promo videos themselves are getting. Like, this is going to be massive.
I'm a big school spirit guy, so
100%. That's what I was going for,
right?
In a roundabout way.
Let me just talk about I don't have it in my. I should probably change my tag right now in the video, but as master of the eye test, it goes beyond just sports for me. If I see a talented actor, talented singer, I know it when I see it. And Jeremy Gray, the range to go from playing as himself, I believe, in the first video, and then going, doctor.
I think his character's name was Ray. I think his name was Ray.
Oh, he's playing like some sort of equipment intern in the first one.
I saw, and I honestly, I wish I grabbed the tweet because now I can't remember who posted it, but I believe the location number 1 was under Bart Kaufman, and location number 2, obviously, like Dunn Meadow.
Gotcha. Yeah, I know. I've been Dunn Meadow plenty of times. I mean, it's probably one of the most gorgeous parts of campus, to be honest, especially in the fall. So good. But yeah, excited to see the Bison back. I think, I think one of the things that, at least being in the West Coast where people are like, what's a Hoosier? And you have to explain that's, it's a native of Indiana. So to just have like kind of a symbol for Indiana that goes beyond just the logo and the word Hoosiers, I think will just go a long way. I think it's cool to put an animal to it as opposed to animal mascots are just better than human mascots. Period.
Well, dude, I'm getting
Purdue.
I'm getting I'm getting a Bison hat. Like I'm getting one. Like I'm gonna have a Bison shirt. Knicks, obviously iconic Bison glass. Have a
what I want is a IU Bison driver cover. That's what I want.
Oh,
I want that. I'm copping that in a heartbeat. If I can get a driver cover that's a Hoosier Bison, that will make my dreams come true. And then John in the chat, good to have you back, John. In the famous words of Howard Schellenberger, the only thing between Indiana and the national championship is time. And couldn't agree more. We've said this over and over and over again on the pod, stacking days, stacking weeks, stacking months, stacking years. That's what it takes to get to, the pinnacle of where Ohio State was last year. And, it took them 10 years in between Urban Meyer and Ryan Day to get a national title. So, temper expectations. There can only be, I think people forget a lot in sports, there can only be one winner at the end. So, as long as you're doing all the right things and making the playoff every year, think the chips will fall your way one year, or you have that, that special group, the culmination of all things, and it's going to go your way. So I couldn't agree more.
You know who's going to help the Hoosiers in time, Brad?
Okay.
Class of 2026 commit. Well, yeah, the Bison for sure. Class of 2026 commit defensive tackle Gabirel Hill. He announced his commitment to the Hoosiers this past week. It was obviously the recruiting momentum they built in the class of 2026 has been massive. This is just another domino in the fact that like these dudes are just working their asses off, bringing in talent left and right. But this position specifically, defensive tackle, there was a bite-sized Bison piece about this, about how the mindset and the production specifically out of that position at this university has changed over the last year. But just Gabirel Hill, just the noticeable step up in level of prospect. Not that obviously, like we talk about, this group is unbelievably good at finding gems and finding the guys who are underranked, but like this is by all accounts a guy who's very properly ranked as a 4-star in this class, and this is again a massive deal. Like the class of 26 is now, I believe they're number 32 or number 31 in the country, but they're a top 32 class. People are saying that this could be the best class since Tom Allen's class, where he brought in Omar Cooper and Carter Smith, among a bunch of other guys. I think this class is going to be like a clear step up from that one. And I don't think it's going to be long before they blow past that number.
Yeah, I think we've said the sentiment before where this is expected really to be the best IU recruiting class of all time, at least from a freshman standpoint. And yeah, Gabirel Hill becomes the top ranked freshman in this class. I mean, you talk about like Henry, you can have an argument, Casimir Hicks being number one and Indiana. Trevor Gibbs looks really good and might play right away, depending on what position he ends up at. No one knows. I mean, what is Trevor Gibbs going to play? No one knows. Lawrence Timmons, obviously having a son of an NFL player, that's huge. Shout out the Steelers. Chuck, if you're listening. Yeah, we got Lawrence Timmons' kid. Or no, his name's Lawrence Timmons. Who's his dad?
Yeah.
Is it Junior? Is it Junior?
Yeah, it's Lawrence J. Timmons is the Indiana
gotcha. Yeah. I was confused for a sec, but yeah,
Timmons.
Hill. Obviously, he's a teammate coming from Naperville, teammate of Jacob Bell, who's on the roster right now as a quarterback. So obviously, having that connection definitely helped. The kid offers Illinois, Iowa, LSU, Notre Dame, Rutgers, Tennessee, Syracuse, A&M, Wisconsin. I didn't even name them all, but I'm seeing 3 SEC schools. I mean, he's an Illinois kid, and you got LSU knocking on the door. I mean, he's clearly turned some eyes on tape across the country, and we were able to get him early before, June turns around. So that being able to lock in some of that quality, obviously these things can change as time progressive. And, I'm not going to freak out. Remember, Byron Baldwin decommitted like last September and then recommitted. So, things will change, things will happen. Not all these guys are locked in until we get pen to paper in December, but Another huge commit. We're up to 9 commits. Tons of momentum in the last 2 months, recruiting wise, where 2 months ago we didn't have any commits. So seeing
and
this
there's
is huge.
Four-star Corey Amitri, I believe is his name. The running back out of Michigan's got a commitment date set for this Friday, I believe that is.
The number one.
Indiana's in the top 6.
So number 1 running back in the state of Michigan might be coming to Indiana and not UM. So I gotta love that.
Indiana Sports Connection. Yes, they are bringing the Bison back. I implore you. I mean, watch our show, obviously, but also go check out. It's on Twitter. I'm sure it's on Instagram and Facebook as well. But there's a couple promo videos released straight from the university that are, you're gonna love this.
And this is why we love John. John with the great nugget. In '68, the Bison mascot passed out because of overheating. For those that don't know it, Bloomington gets hot in September, so not surprising. It wasn't long after the mascot was no more. Awesome story.
That is an awesome story.
Really, it's a little soft reason to get rid of the mascot. I guess a student endangerment. I guess, but I mean, just make the kids sign a waiver. You know, I feel like there's no liability there.
Wait, Indiana Sports Connection says they didn't put eye holes in that thing back then. The cheerleaders had to lead them around.
Yeah, technology is really advanced, so I'm just excited to see like what it looks like. I hope it doesn't look stupid.
No. If there's one thing, I mean, I have a faith in this administration department, whatever. But like the branding, especially since Signetti's come in, has been so on point that for something as important as the mascot, I promise you, they're not like. If they mess this up, I'll come and eat crow. You know what I mean? Like they're going to nail this. I know they're going to nail this.
Yeah, that's what nightmares are made of. I mean, just being in a box with no eye holes, you're just wandering around for football games last 4 hours? That's just,
it's just tough. It's tough. Okay. I feel like there's got to be smarter people.
Were you the Bison, John? Was it you? Was it? Man, that wild. So yeah, hopefully we figure out the eye hole situation and have a good looking Bison mascot. And yeah, hopefully it doesn't look too much like Marshall's mascot. We make it a little different because I think they have a Bison.
They're a Thundering Herd, like that's much different.
Yeah, don't like it looking like Ralphie or anyone like that. So yeah,
or Alf or anything. Yeah, we
hope to have a little branding. And for those that don't know, I know there's some out of staters, non-Indiana people. Bison are native to the Monroe County, Indiana area. I don't know how many are around these days, but back in the days before, environmental impacts and stuff, there used to be tons of bison around the southern Indiana area. So,
and the bison is common.
Acknowledge that history.
I was going to say, the bison commonly confused with the buffalo. The buffalo not on this continent, so the buffalo is in Asia.
Yeah, it's a bison
in Africa, I believe.